Hello everyone, hi, this is Dani and this is A Knitted Suitcase podcast episode 23. Actually it's the second take because I recorded a whole episode 2 days ago, but there was no good material in it because my dog was really restless and kept barking together with the dog next door, so it was just a pain. So take 2, hopefully this is a good one. My name is Dani, I live in Perth, Western Australia with my family and this dog. And yes, I've been here for 3 years. Before that I was living in the UK, so I've traveled a bit, and wherever I go I take my knitting, and yes, that's my passion. That's what I like to do, like to talk about, like to plan all the time, and good chances are that if you're here with me today you understand that very well and you are the same. I work in a yarn shop here in Perth called Calico and Ivy, which is just my happy place. Lots of amazing yarn, a great creative community, and there's fabrics as well, all sorts of little treasures for crafters. So I love that. If you ever visit Calico and Ivy and you see me, please stop and say hello and let's have a chat about what you're making and your plans. My episodes normally are have the usual structure, so finished objects, works in progress, acquisitions and plans, but this particular one will have no work in progress section because I have so much to tell you. It's been a long time since my latest episode, and that's mainly due to life. Well, it's been a busy time for me, and the latest thing that happened is that we moved home, and you know how it is. Moves are so labor intensive, so stressful. I couldn't be happier about the house we are in now, but there's still a lot to do. This is my new craft room, but as you see, it's quite bare at the moment, so I need to work and make that a bit more homey, and that's why I haven't been around here, but I've missed chatting to you all. I've missed your comments. I am ever so grateful to everyone who stops by and spends some time with me and leaves a nice note at the end. So please do that again for this episode. The latest episode also had a special feature that was a giveaway, and today we will see who's won this giveaway just in a few minutes. So stay with us, just grab your knitting and let's have a nice chat. Let's just spend a minute talking about what I'm wearing. This is now it'll be kind of 5 years old knit, and it's the Chunky Dahlia by Camilla Vad that I knitted in drops yarn. The silk merino for sure, that was held together with a DK yarn, and now I don't remember the specific variety, but if you go on Ravelry, I haven't mentioned that, I'm DanyUK on Ravelry and A Knitted Suitcase on Instagram. If you go on Ravelry, you'll find a project page about this with all the details. I must say it's a warmer knit, and in the past couple of years I haven't worn it that much here in Perth because our summers are quite mild. But this one, according to the statistics, is the coldest winter in 50 years. So I have worn it a lot. It's in rotation a lot, and I love it so much. I'm particularly proud of the bobbles I did on this jumper. It was my first time knitting them, and they look really nice and round and perky, which has not happened ever since. So every time I find a pattern with bobbles, I try and avoid that, because lately every time I've tried knitting them, they didn't look that great and I didn't enjoy the process. So there you go. It's a circular yoke, round yoke with this beautiful lace knitted at quite a big gauge, so it's quite a fast knit, and it's really eye-catching, I must say, so highly recommended. She's got also a cardigan where the lace is at the bottom just before the ribbing rather than on the yoke. That's also beautiful. Just have a look at this pattern, it's worth it. Finished objects. I'm trying to be quite fast and snappy because I've got a lot to say, and you know, I've already recorded all of these ones. Moreover, I often think I chat too much, so I'm trying to use fewer words. Let's see how I do. So the first finished objects I wanted to show you is a gorgeous pair of mittens. Here they are. These are the Bendigo mittens by Kath Martin. Kath Martin is a mindful Melbourne maker on YouTube. She's got a podcast. She's a dear friend of mine, and she's recently started designing. She is doing beautiful socks. The name of the sock patterns come from Australian capital cities, so that's really fun. And I have recently knitted her Bendigo socks, which were part of the Bendigo project. I've spoken about it a lot in the previous episodes. Anyway, in occasion of the Sheep and Wool Show in Bendigo, which is the biggest wool and fibre festival in Australia, some designers have come together to release a collection of projects, of patterns that the community has been knitting and then wearing and showcasing together at the festival while I was there again as well. So part of this podcast will also be, you know, about my experience in Bendigo. And of course, I had to participate. So I knitted the Bendigo socks, I knitted a beanie by Susanna Kartinen, who was one of the designers. I knitted the long paddock jumper by Vera Marku. I knitted the Sunday by Susanna Kartinen as well. And the last thing I decided to knit are these gorgeous Bendigo mittens. Well, it all started with this yarn, this beautiful yarn, which is hedgehog fiber shapeshifter merino decay, that I got at Calico and Ivy, of course. So many temptation every day I go to work. And I used it to knit up this cute beanie for a class I was teaching there. I teach a few classes at knitting at Calico and Ivy, and I love it so much. I had quite a bit of leftovers from that, so I decided to knit up a pair of mittens just before leaving for the festival. So the first one was completed like the day before. The second one was just past the calf when I boarded my plane, and when I landed 5 hours later, it was completed. So I promise you, being knitted in DK yarn, they are the quickest, really, the quickest pattern you can think of, and are great for gift knitting as well. So they are knitted from the calf up, and they have some nice cable details on the sides, exactly like the Bendigo socks that I'm wearing at the moment, but I'm not agile enough to show on camera. I omitted the cables here because the yarn is so busy, but I kept this sort of ribbing feature on the side of the thumb and on the side of the hand that is particularly good for, you know, to keep them snug around your hand. They have these very fun garter stripes. So I used some Bendigo Woolen Mills sock yarn held together, 2 strands held together for the cuffs. And I used some leftovers of this purple and pink yarn, 2 strands again, sock yarn. And I used my hedgehog fiber yarn for the hand. They are really, really fun, and yes, it was great when I was there to have the coordinated set, you know, and I was actually working on them while I bound them off sitting next to Kath while we were at Bendigo. I'll tell you more about that later. Okay, highly recommended, and they go with my hat. Now, if you watched my previous episode, I was so much in love with this yarn, and I was so excited about, my knitting classes. I always love to teach and share my passion with other people, that I decided to do a little giveaway for a skein of that same yarn that I used for the mittens. So this is 100 grams, 200 meters, machine washable yarn, hedgehog fiber shapeshifter colorway, as I just said. Look at all those shades. I want to thank you, first of all, everybody who participated, and please see here the winner. Congratulations, Kathy, this beautiful skein comes to you. I am particularly happy because I know Kathy. She is a friend, one of the lovely ladies in my knitting group, and I can't wait to deliver this one to her together with some other little bits. Oh, sorry, the doggy next door is starting again. Hopefully, well, my own dog is out, so she will not cause a kerfuffle at the moment. So these will go to Kathy very soon. Thanks so much for everybody who participated and commented. I'm always so pleased. Second finished object I want to share with you is a Maxi cardigan that unfortunately I haven't got here with me, because that was a knit I did on commission for a customer at Calico and Ivy. Now, I will say that knitting on commission is against all my principles, because I want knitting to be my space of freedom, of creativity and free expression. So I hate to have sort of rules or, borders that control what I am doing with my knitting. But this was definitely an exception. Like every good rule, there has to be an exception. It all started with a lovely lady. She really looked very kind and easygoing from the start, turning up at Calico and Ivy, asking for some yarn, as she had in mind to get a cardigan knitted for her daughter-in-law. She brought a sample cardigan with herself, which was a cropped cardigan knitted at a very big gauge, 7.5 stitches in 10 centimeters, open with a shallow v-neck and literally a square, in the shape with no specific shaping, and with wide sleeves. Now, she was still looking for somebody to do the job, and when I started to ask some questions that would help me find the right yarn for them, we quickly realized that there were quite a few experiments to do and a little bit of planning before the project could actually be cast on. And it was particularly important that the person who would knit it had the yarn at her disposal to do different, experiments. So at the end of the day, thanks also to the fact that she, of course, was generous with her offer, I decided to take the challenge on. So I started experimenting and swatching with different yarns available in the shop, because we were trying not only to replicate the gauge, but also the kind of quality of yarn. The cardigan she brought me was knitted with probably kind of unspun yarn, a bit like roving, but it was extremely soft. It definitely felt like it had some alpaca in the content. So after doing a few trial runs, we landed on a specific yarn combination that basically had me knit with 4 different strands of yarn held together, which were 2 DK merino strands and 2 brushed alpaca strands. So I used mainly Sandnes Garn Double Sunday for the DK and Fiber Space Cumulus for the alpaca addition. I can show you, first of all, I'll try and add some photographs as we talk, though I must say I didn't a very good job at collecting photographs of the project, unfortunately. So you'll have to get not very nice ones. And I have here some pages that I created on my journal, my trusted knitting journal, with basically notes and instructions I was writing down for myself, because I literally made it up as I went, basically on the base of the gauge and the size, the measurements that the lady gave me. She wanted the new one not to be as cropped as the sample one she brought me. It had to be a long line cardigan, and just playing around with gauge and numbers. I basically knitted it. I knitted it bottom up, so just starting with a few rounds of ribbing, and then knitting stocking it all the way up to the sleeves separation, where I started to also create a shallow V-neck. There was no ribbing around the neck and the border of the front, just a little slipping 3 stitches to create like a little I-cord finish. I seamed it on the shoulders so that it could sort of be a little bit stronger to hold the weight of such a long garment. It ended up weighing 770 grams, so that's a lot of yarn. I thought the seam on the shoulders would hold, give it more structure. And then I picked up stitches around the armholes, and knitted the sleeves straight. All of these done on 12mm needles until I got to do rapid decreases around the calves and knit the ribbing on the calves in 10mm needles to be a little bit, stronger. Now the sort of main feature of this cardigan, as you can see, is this sort of color combination that develops as marled bands all over the jumper. I achieved that by holding different strands of yarn all the way through. So I would knit a cream section with four strands of the cream colored yarns, and then I would introduce one of the lace weight together with 3 of the cream in a different color together with the other 3 in the cream color, and then swap the second lace weight together with 2 cream color DK strands, and then go to 1 cream color DK strand and 2 lace weight and 1 DK in the color, until I got to the center of the section that was just 4 strands in the contrasting color. And then I would do the same sort of sequence the other way around to get to leave behind the contrasting color and reach a new solid cream band. That was quite a lot of fun, to be honest, and I think the overall effect is really striking and really interesting. I must say it's not a kind of garment I would knit for myself, because I prefer smaller I prefer smaller garments. I like more cropped jumpers, and this may sound silly, but I also don't like the idea to have to store such a big knit in my wardrobe. I don't know how you feel about that, but I find it's always a bit awkward to find the right space for such a big thing. Yeah, the overall effect was, I think, really beautiful in its own style. The customer was extremely happy. I was happy because it was again a little bit of a creative challenge, and most of all the lady was so kind. She didn't give me any deadline, so I could take as long as I wanted. And yeah, I think it was a really nice experience. The only thing I really did not enjoy, and I think this is a good, lesson to keep in mind for everyone who wants to knit something heavily marled, is that there were 2 million ends to weave in, because you can imagine every time I switched color for each of the strands, I would have 2 ends to weave in. And the worst was that unfortunately I did the second sleeve completely wrong. Despite me writing all the notes in my trusted journal, I managed to pick up five stitches too few on the second sleeve. And I only realized that when I was at the cuff. Can you imagine how dumb you need to be to do that? Anyway, I had to rip it all off. And while I didn't want the 2 sleeves to be completely identical, I still wanted to be quite similar. So I had to join strands of yarn in order to maintain the thickness of the bands more or less similar to between the 2 sleeves. So that added even more ends to weave in at the end of the project. Again, it was a lot of work and I did not enjoy that last section, but it was worth it in the end. For me, for the customer, it was a nice way to, find different yarn combinations for people who are into bigger gauge, and also, offer more variety in the shop. So it was really a good project. All the details about the colors will be in my Ravelry project. On my Ravelry project. As I said, it's mainly double Sunday. Just for the brown bands, at the time the lady came in, we didn't have double Sunday and cumulus in the right sort of hazelnut color, so I picked some Cleckheaton Midlands 8 ply and some Isager silk mohair in the shade 63. Again, all the numbers are in my Ravelry project page in case you're interested. And if you want to, knit something like that, just get in touch. I may be able to, pick the yarns for you and at Calico and Ivy, or maybe you come in and we have a nice chat about that if you're local. Good. Another finished object ticked off. The third finished object I've got for you today is my Staffin Lite vest. Now, this is a very happy combination of a really entertaining, quick to knit, fun pattern and the best yarn and color I can think of. I have had this yarn in my stash for a while. It's a combination of 1 strand of merino, let's say 5 ply, and 1 strand of mohair. Unfortunately, I haven't got a lot of infos about these yarns because I sourced them in Italy at a warehouse that sells mill ends and discontinued yarn. So I can show you the label for the merino, but the mohair was just on a cone, and the merino itself, I believe, is available only in Italy. Where's my page? There we go. The merino is Sportiva Superwash Merino, 175 meters in 50 grams. So I would say it's a 5 ply, sort of sport weight. I had 200 grams of the merino, so not an awful lot. And I kept it aside for a while just because I wanted to find something that would really showcase this color in the best way and that I would be sure to wear a lot. A vest was an easy choice for it, and this particular vest had caught my eye because it did look like a very entertaining pattern to knit up. It's, as I said, the Staffin vest Lite DK by Clow, who is the Crea Bear on YouTube and of course on Ravelry with a big catalogue of beautiful designs. She created the cardigan and jumper as well before designing the vest, that are knitted at a bigger gauge, while this one is the light version because it's a 20 stitches in 10 centimeters weight gauge, and she on the cover of the pattern she wears it just as a summer vest, knitted in a fiber, in a plant fiber yarn, and has got some eyelets instead of these little nubs here to make it more summery and you know, airy. Now here in Perth, as I said, the weather is normally quite warm, so I find that as soon as the bad weather goes away, wearing a full woolen jumper is quite too warm, while a vest is just ideal for me because it gives me a lot of warmth on my body and still leaves some fresh air for the arms and to come through the armholes. So yes, that was definitely the perfect combination. It's knitted top down, so you knit, and well, this is size 2 as well. It's knitted top down, starting from the back of the neck. You do some increases here on the shoulder, and then you start this beautiful pattern repeat that also gave me a chance to try the technique to create the Estonian buttons. These are the nubs. That is so fun and so entertaining. It really, you know, made me feel comfortable in trying to use this stitch again in other patterns, as opposed to how I feel about the dreaded bobbles. And well, once you've created the back triangle, let's say, you pick up stitches on the sleeve, on the side of the shoulder, to create again this very nice and neat sort of seam on the shoulders, and you carry on knitting flat until you reach the armholes, and then you knit the body straight and you do a little bit of ribbing. The neck and armhole ribbing is 1 by 1. I did everything on 3.5 millimeter needles. It's knitted 1 by 1 ribbing, and I did a sewn or Italian bind off. I did 2 rounds of tubular ribbing, and then I did the sewn bind off, which I always find gives such a good and pretty and neat finish. While at the bottom, I just went for a simple, you know, but knitted bind off. It was really, really fast to knit. I started this one when I was at Bendigo with my friends, and they kept telling me, oh, by the time you get home it'll be finished, because it was really growing really, really quickly. I didn't finish it in 4 or 5 days, but it didn't take long. I actually cast it on the 17th of July and bound off on the 4th of August. So it was a really quick knit. And it took up a total of 230 grams of yarn, 182 gram wool, and 48 grams of mohair. And just by chance, it's the same color as my plane ticket to Bendigo by Jetstar, which I thought was a very nice memory to add to this page, you know, for my journal. The only thing I have to say is this knit was pure joy until I realized, as you may have noticed, that I did a massive mistake. The massive mistake can be easily spotted if you look at the back. So as you see, this is the full repeat, 2x2 ribbing, Estonian buttons, diamond, knit and pearls motif, Estonian buttons, and then you start again. And look what I did in the following repeats. I omitted the bottom Estonian button band, and so I did everywhere on the front. Now, when I realized this, it's like the second sleeve on my chunky cardigan. I wanted to bang my head in the wall because it's just, but again, I've been moving home. I've got a busy life. Knitting is just my happy, relaxed, forgiving, creative place. And to be honest with you, I don't care. Well, a couple of times after I noticed that I was very close to ripping back. And then I just decided to forgive myself and to just wear it and just enjoy it. And I've done it and I love it. And everybody who saw the photographs on Instagram was very, very kind and supportive of my choice. And if somebody is not, well, their problem. I just feel like I've got the perfect, pretty spring vest ready for when the warmer days arrive. And I hope this gives you a little bit of inspiration, to be forgiving and kind to yourself as well when you are encountering some difficulties in your knitting adventure. Okay? What I want to spend some time on is actually, telling you a little bit about my wonderful experience at the Sheep and Wool show earlier in July. The Sheep and Wool show is held every year in Bendigo, which is the home of Bendigo Woolen Mills, the biggest and I believe one of the few operating mills still active here in Australia. And it's my third year attending it. It all started 3 years ago when I was just new to Australia. I was just starting to connect with the Australian knitting community online, mainly through test knitting and through this podcast. And I made friends with the wonderful Gaian of the Fibre Mates podcast. She's local, she lives in Melbourne, and she invited me to go and visit the festival with them. And I did it. I packed my knitted suitcase and I went, and it was a fantastic experience. But every year I go, the experience gets better and better now. Mainly because there's beautiful yarn, there's very talented dyers, there's amazing fiber to squish and enjoy and lots of inspiration to get. But most of all, it's my favorite opportunity to connect and to be present in real life with the many lovely, lovely people that I now have grown to know and to appreciate in the virtual social media world. So it's just a weekend that fills my cup to the brim. For the second time this year, we have shared an Airbnb. And when I say we, I mean myself and a bunch of the best knitting friends and knitting ladies in the world. So most of them you probably already know, and you have heard already talking about this experience because they are podcasters as well. So that's Kath, that I've already mentioned, of the Mindful Maker podcast, Gaian of the Fibre Mates podcast, Kath of the, these two, I wanted to say they were also very gracious hosts, because being both based in Melbourne, they did a lot to organize the house and the food and to drive us to and from the airport. So massive thanks to them. And then we also had Ali from Fiberbound with her lovely mom Halina, that I had already met when the two of them visited Perth last year, and she's amazing company. She's the sweetest thing. So it was a total pleasure to have her there. And then Vera Marcu of the Vera Loves Knitting design brand, who is just, Vera is just unique. I love her as a designer and as a human being. And Vera brought a friend of her that we didn't know. Her name is Emina, and she is Stitches and Swings on Instagram. So please go and give her some love. And of course, we didn't know her. And by the time we were heading back to the airport, she was another of our best friends, because she's just a fantastic, just the warmest person, just a fantastic knitter. I really, really enjoyed spending some time with her too. So I think I've said everyone. I should have said everyone. So they are the best bunch, and we had the most wonderful time. We booked the same house we were staying in last year, and we started our weekend with a trip, with a visit at the Bendigo Woolen Mill company, because they were doing the day before the beginning of the show on a Thursday, the launch of a new yarn that they have been producing. It's a farm to market yarn. That means the fiber comes from a single farm owned by a gentleman called Tony Manchester, who was there talking about his beautiful Corriedale flock, because the new yarn called Woolemai is 100% Corriedale. And of course, I've got some samples to show you. Just give me a minute, because I need to collect a few bits. So yes, sorry, but yes, 2 days ago when I recorded the previous take on this episode, I had then tidied up all the yarn and I had to go and get it all again. So that's the Woolemai colorway I got. It's color Kauri Pine. There you go. It's an 8-ply yarn, 100% Corriedale. It's really soft, and it's this beautiful green color that I have already swatched with. I'll tell you more in my next episode about all the whips. It's really, really lovely, really soft. They had a range of colors that was absolutely nice, but my choice went with this green. As you'll see in, with the other yarns I'll show you later, I am in a very green and blue period, actually, or at least I felt like green and blue when I was in Bendigo. So that was my first acquisition. And I also went diving. And I also went, we all did, as we always do, sorry, there will be a bit of crinkling now, went looking into the famous back room at Bendigo Woolen Mills, which means the room where they store cheaper yarn that's being discontinued. Well, there are some exceptional deals, I must say, in the back in the back room, and everybody who visits will know. And that's what I got there. Again, look at that beautiful color. This is just sock yarn 4-ply, 100% wool. I've got 200 grams of these, 2 balls of these beautiful periwinkle color that I adore. It's actually the color of my wedding dress. I may have said that before. So I'm really excited. I think either this one or another colorway that I'll show you in a minute might become a ranunculus, because I knitted a ranunculus years ago when I was slimmer than now, and it was so tiny. Now it's in my daughter's wardrobe. I need a ranunculus for me, and I think it would be amazing in this color. So that was my other purchase at Bendigo Woolen Mills. And I also got some beautiful lemon yellow DK yarn. It's a mix of wool, silk and acrylic, and I can't wait to use that one as well. I forgot to bring it out. It's hidden somewhere in my yarn cupboard, but I'm sure I'll get a chance of showing that to you again soon. That was our first stop, our first, visit when we got to Bendigo. And then from there, we went to our house and we got settled and we spent a lovely evening chatting and knitting. And there was a lot of gift giving because, some of us like to bring little presents to share. So I had the most scrumptious chocolate bar, artisan orange jelly chocolate. It was divine from Vera. I got some really pretty stitch markers together with a little pack of wool wash from Alina, and what else? Ali gave us a beautiful hand-turned wooden little notion keepers, little bowls, and some beautiful stitch markers made by her. And well, I have to show you this one. This one is always in my hands because I use it every day. So I have to show you this. This is the gift Gayan gave me, and she gave each and every one of us a hand knit water bottle cover that was made by her for all of us. Can you imagine how much time and dedication that took? And she managed to, add some features to each of them that were really personal to and significant to the person. So mine was a brioche, is a beautiful brioche cover, hot water bottle cover, because I was when she first started knitting this one, I was teaching a brioche class at Calico and Ivy. Look at that, isn't it the most perfect gauge? And it's so squishy. I've been using it every night because in winter I really feel the cold, so I always have a hot water bottle with me. The pattern she used, at least the basic pattern she used, I believe is a free pattern from the lady who runs the Maker shop in Melbourne. So you can go on their website and you'll find it there. It's got these, it's folded, it's dark yarn, so I don't know if you can see it. This folded turtleneck, and it's just the most perfect gift. I am so grateful. Something else we did on the first night, we always do a yarn swap, like a Secret Santa sort of yarn swap, where we bring one skein all wrapped up as if it were a Christmas present, and we swap them around. And that's what I got. Sorry, everything's on the floor now because I've got too much. There we go. That is the beautiful skein I got, which is Knitology by Knit Crate. It's Rainbow Mountain, that's the colorway, and it's merino wool nylon, 400 meters in 100 grams. Oh, these can be a beautiful pair of socks, or maybe mittens, or maybe even a hat, I was thinking, but it's so beautiful. Thank you. I don't actually know who gave it to me because it was all secret, but I'm grateful anyway. So yes, that was the start of our trip. And then of course the Friday morning we got up early, had a very nice breakfast provided by Gayan, and we went nice and early. Before even some of the stalls had opened, we were there at the fair. And we always start with the same, more or less we always do the same sort of tour. And we start with Dani at half-baked hand-dyed, because we are great fans of her self-striping independently dyed yarn that she winds up by hand in these beautiful balls. I am always in awe of her work when I get there and see a big basket full of these balls. I couldn't stay away from this beautiful colorway, which is Faye. It's a 4-ply, 100 grams fingering, merino nylon, and it will become, look at that, isn't it fantastic. It will become the cutest pair of socks for myself, and maybe I could even do a pair for myself and a pair for my daughter if I use something contrasting to do the heels and cuffs. Then second stop is always at Vanessa, who's next door to Dani. Vanessa, kind of the My Creative Garage yarn brand, who has always got, I should have a recording here, the most curated and color combinated and just extraordinarily beautiful stand. She had a lot of pink yarns this year because of her trip to Japan in the cherry blossom season that inspired her to dye a lot of pinks. And while I'm normally very drawn to pinks, this year I just decided to go for a beautiful, beautiful blue. I will add a photograph because I haven't got it. I didn't find it in the cupboard now. Beautiful, beautiful blue that I got for to make a semplice shawl by Vera Marcu. That was my thought at the moment, but we will see. My brain is always, I'm always changing ideas, so I don't know. After that, we went to see, all the stands, and we did a lot of shopping. And the most beautiful thing is that we met so many lovely, lovely people. I met for the first time, as I didn't know them, and I honestly didn't even watch their podcasts, but now I'm a regular because, sorry, I've got something in my mouth, because they are just amazing. Tash of the Mostly Knitting podcast, who was also very kind and mentioned me in her report back from Bendigo. She actually recorded that then and there with her friend Rebecca, I think it was the name, when she was still in Bendigo. We met the lovely lady behind We Are Wool People podcast, who I didn't know, and she is just hilarious. She knits beautiful elevated garments, and she's so creative and she's so entertaining to watch. So I absolutely recommend you watch her. And then we met so many people. It was fantastic. Anna of the Lavender Cottage podcast. I finally met in person Stephanie of the Crafty Pink Creations Instagram handle. I think I said it right. We always connect on Instagram, and it was a pleasure to hug her and meet her in person. Of course, there was Susanna Kartinen, Sanna & Co, who was sharing a stand with Vera, and their stand was the most beautiful, most inspiring of them all. I will try and add photographs again. Who else? Ashley. I met Ashley, and we actually spent some time together of the Smash Knits podcast. She feels like a friend I've had, for years. It was so good to be together. And I met the lovely ladies at Hodgepodge. And of course, I can't think of anybody else now. I met some friends that are actually here in Perth in my knitting group, Jerry and Lily, and I met Alex and spent some time with Alex, who is another lovely lady I met through my podcast in Melbourne, and I always see her when I go to the show. It was incredible to be bumping into all these people we know virtually and spend some time together and see all the beautiful makes and inspirations that people wearing their knits were giving. So it was just, we had hot jam donuts, of course, because that's the fuel. Hot jam donuts is the fuel to any Bendigo visitor. And yeah, what else did we get? Again, I may not be exhaustive in my description because I'm a bit overwhelmed, and some of the yarns are still in the cupboard. So we got some beautiful project bags, crystal cut stitchery, and a very pretty orange theme. I don't know where it is. I like a photograph from Xian's Yarns. She is so creative, and she does lots of different themed little bags that are fantastic. At the moment, she's got some pigeon and succulents themed sock project bags that you should definitely check out on her website. And yes, I can show you something else. Well, something else I got this yarn. It doesn't look like much in the skein, but this is Cascade 220 that I got from the Zigo Zago stand, because, well, I've heard of these yarn a lot on podcasts and I've always wanted to try it. So I got enough to knit a homey cardigan by Vera Marco. I will need also a contrasting yarn, but I'll get that cream one at Calico and Ivy soon. Then let me just pop down again to grab more yarn. Then I visited the Little Woolly Makes store, and I got these two beautiful mohairs. I think her colors are just out of this world, so beautiful and bright. And my plan is to incorporate these in an instant crush jumper. If you don't know it, go and check it out. It's an all over color work knitted entirely in 2 strands of mohair, and the designer is the amazing Hoki Locatelli. Super popular pattern and super beautiful. So that's another plan. And then I went next door to to Julie's. I think the lady of Little Woolly Makes is called Julie. Her son Max is yes, that's the yarn Max of Maximo Yarns, and I got this beautiful green colorway. Look at that. It feels like a mint variegated ice cream or something. I totally love this one. I'd love a shawl in these colors. Then I discovered for the first time Kaz of the Hodgepodge Skeins brand that my friend Kath at Mindful Melbourne Makers mentions all the time, and I understand why. Her colors are so beautiful and bright. This is the Bendigo colorway, Bendigo Bling limited edition 2025, and of course we had to have the limited edition, didn't we? But together with that, I got also another one that is it has already been caked up, because I had plans with it to knit socks and then I changed my mind. There we go. Another beautiful green, minty green with lots of pink and blues and yellow specks. Fantastic. So that was another moment of pure joy visiting that store. And probably the last thing I got, I have to show you, because this is I want to say my favorite purchase, but it wouldn't be true because I love everything. And that's some gorgeous lichem. I think that's the pronunciation. Lichem wool. This is 4-ply yarn. I've got 2 skeins of Paul Merino wool. It's 100% Paul Merino wool, and this is ethically and sustainably managed Paul Merino sheep, Australian grown and processed by this company that is based in South Australia. So it's another case of farm to market yarn, and this color just gives me so much joy. The most relevant characteristic of this yarn, though, is its softness. You would believe it's cashmere or something like that, because it's unbelievably soft, and it's gonna be a shawl. It does want to be a shawl. I don't think it'll be a very busy shawl. It'll just be some texture on it, and I'm gonna wear it all the time when I finally knit it. So that's I think that's about everything I got in Bendigo. Well, what else did we do? On the Friday night, we had a fantastic open house evening where we invited lots of these people I've mentioned to you in to share some takeaway pizzas, and we had a lot of fun, a lot of chatting, a lot of knitting, lots of exchanging inspirations. Yeah, it was just fantastic. The Saturday we went back, and Saturday was the day of the big Bendigo project photo shoot. So as I said, these amazing 4 designers, Kath Martins, Susanna Kartinen, Vera Marco, and Tess of the Fluff and Nonsense yarn dyers. Oh, I also got a skein from Tess, but I'll add a photograph here. They had created this beautiful collection with lots of different patterns, all dedicated to Bendigo and with a common theme of stripes. And everybody who was able to attend on that day and had knitted any of those pieces gathered in front of the main entrance, and we took beautiful photographs of us all together, and then everybody who had knitted the socks together and everybody who had knitted the jumpers together. And it was so heartwarming, and it was even touching, particularly to see the 4 ladies hug at the end of the event and come to the very happy conclusion of a project that had actually taken a lot of time, of dedication, of passion, and they were really, they were really teary a little bit, and it was so sweet to see and so amazing to experience. So I already look forward to next year's edition. I don't know how you feel about that. I'm pretty sure it'll grow from this year. So that was another amazing moment. And then Saturday night we went home. We went through all our purchases and started doing plans and chatting about them, and just generally being, happy and full of joy. Sunday, somebody went back to the fair. I didn't, because honestly, I thought I wasn't ready to purchase anything else, and I just wanted a bit of a relaxed morning before catching my plane again. So I went to a cafe with Amina, and we had a very lovely chat. She's also European, so we had a lot of things in common. She's got kids my daughter's age, so we had really, really, a very sweet and genuine chat, and it was amazing. And then Kath again, she was just fantastic with me, drove me and Amina back to the airport, and off we were on our flight back home on Sunday evening. It's just special. It's just an experience that I wish everyone could live the same way we do, because it's not the yarn. Well, it is, of course, all the beautiful yarn, all the effort and passion and dedication you see in the producers, in the makers, in the yarn dyers that attend, travel from various parts of Australia to be there and really give every inch of their energy and passion and enthusiasm to every single person turning up in their stand. But it's just the human connections that's amazing, and I'm pretty sure if you ever manage to visit, you will feel that too. For the very last section of this podcast, I just want to share with you some more yarn goodness. I feel really, really privileged to have access to all these beautiful things, and I just hope this is not putting any pressure on any of you, about the size or the variety of their stash. It's just been a very intense and happy period for me, when there was a lot of incoming yarn, but it isn't like that every day, of course. Anyway, I managed to get to know another wonderful knitting another wonderful person in the knitting community this year. Her name is Christy, and she's got a podcast too, the Mommy Grace Design podcast. She's based in the United States, and we met through a test knitting for the Sunday top that I tested for Susanna Carton, still in the Bendigo project situation. As you know, we felt like we had similar tastes, and you know, we were getting along really well. I suggested we did a yarn swap. So we just decided for an amount, a value of yarn we were ready to give to each other, and we swapped these beautiful parcels. Now, Christy has been much better than me, and she recorded the unboxing of my parcel. So if you go on her YouTube channel, you'll see the episode where, you know, she actually unboxes it live. While I couldn't resist, the moment the parcel arrived in my house, I unboxed it straight away with no recording or whatever. And well, I just wanted to show you the beautiful things she sent me. Let's start with this lovely, lovely Pasquale yarn in this incredible golden color. This is Nepal, and it's a mix of cotton, linen and nettle, 60, 28, 12%, which is so nice, so good. The nettle is the fiber that gives it this little bit of shine to the fiber, and this is definitely gonna be the best yarn for our hot summers here. So it'll definitely become a pretty summer top. I've got four skeins of it, so it's 200 grams, and you know, it's becoming something great very, very soon, because I will be able to wear it a lot here in the heat weather. Second beautiful collection of yarn is these incredible skeins. I've got 4 of them from the Uncommon Thread. The base is linen, 50% alpaca, 25% silk and 25% linen. Now look at this color. Isn't it perfect? It's got shades of orange, of coral, of pink in it, and the beautiful little like fibers of linen that are kind of poking out, giving it a little bit of a heathered look. This is going to be fantastic to knit with. So soft and so exceptionally beautiful. I was, you know, in love the moment I opened the parcel. That was another great thing. But I must say, well, before the swap, we gave each other some ideas, some guidelines about the kind of yarn we were interested in trying, or, you know, we were mainly knitting with. And I was bold and said, look, I'd really like to try some linen quill, because I've always wanted to try it. And she was so generous. She sent me 2 packs of mini skeins. Look at those colors. These are 25-gram balls of linen quill. The plastic doesn't help, but I'll show you a ball. There you go. Every single little bowl has got 25 grams in it, and look at these beautiful colors. So one of the package is all greens, beautiful greens and blues with some neutrals in it, and the other one is more on the brown, orangey sort of lines with these very fun neon, this very bright orange. I mean, I am beyond excited. Now, this is going to become, not the whole of it, I will have to mix some of the blues and some of the greens together. Will definitely become a stripy top for the summer season. Probably long sleeves, because I don't know if you're familiar, but linen quill is 50% fine Highland wool, 35% alpaca and 15% linen. But I'm really excited by the fact that there's a lot of linen mix in these yarns that I got, and that's gonna be perfect for the weather here. So, oh my goodness, I can't carry on being here and chatting. I need to go and knit because I've got so much beauty to work on. There were also some add-ons to the parcels. I sent her some. She sent me some. So I got these cute little notes to add, you know, to gifts and, you know, to diaries, and that I love. There was a beautiful goat milk artisanal soap that's in my linen cupboard now, some bath salts, and there was a beautiful hand printed tea towel and some collection of postcards that some of them I actually want to frame and hang on the wall because they are so cute. They've got a little bit of a vintage look that I adore. So, and a beautiful card that Christy made herself for me. She's a multi-talented lady. She does scrapbooking, sewing, knitting. She's a dog mom. She's just so much fun to watch. So go and see her podcast. And yeah, again, lots and lots of joy just wrapped up in a little package. So thanks so much, Christy, for your beautiful selection of things you sent me. And yeah, I think I have told you everything now, even a bit too much, but I am all bubbling with joy and enthusiasm, renewed enthusiasm for my beautiful yarns and for all the creative opportunities, because going through them again with you helped me, you know, remember how much I have to enjoy. And thanks so much for sticking with me, for listening, for the comments that I hope will come in the you know, after you watch it. Please, if you have a chance, share with your friends, with the community, so that we may be growing a little bit the podcast here. And yes, thank you. Grab your knitting, even 5 minutes a day. That's so good for our souls. And take care. Happy knitting. Bye.